The NFL is one of the most popular and profitable sports leagues in the entire world. The league essentially prints its own money. However, not all of its 32 franchises make the same amount of money, nor are they all as profitable as each other. And in this video, we will go over the least profitable of them all. These are the least profitable NFL teams explained. So as many of us know, Forbes releases its most valuable teams list every year. They give numbers such as revenue, team valuation, but that doesn't really tell you the entire story. Because in the end, it's really the operating income that ends up being the profit that these teams make. So we're going to go 5-1 based on the most recent data available, which is 2022 from Forbes. And number 5 in terms of least profitable are the Green Bay Packers. And their most recent operating income was $69 million. Now there's a lot of reasons that such a popular franchise would be in the lower end of profitability. Now obviously the Packers have a lot of interest outside of Green Bay. They're really the team of Wisconsin and Milwaukee, otherwise this wouldn't even work having a team in such a small town. However, if we look at the TV market for Milwaukee, it only ranks 38th in the entire country, which is pretty low. And Wisconsin is only the 20th largest state in the country in terms of population. So while the Packers may appear to have one of the best and strongest fan bases in the NFL, that doesn't necessarily mean they're one of the most profitable. The team also doesn't have an owner with deep pockets to pour money into the team, since they have no owner, so it is likely that more revenue does go back into the team and facilities. Also, Green Bay is a very small and distant NFL stadium city. Most of the population of Wisconsin lives at least 100 miles away or so it does probably pose somewhat of a marketing and logistical challenge for the team. Next we have the New Orleans Saints at $66 million. And this one makes quite a bit of sense when you look at the numbers and the region of America that this team is located in. 50th largest television market in the US, which is the second smallest in the entire NFL if Milwaukee is counted towards Green Bay. Louisiana is the 25th most populated state in the country, so it doesn't have that going for it either. And nearby Mississippi is even smaller. But this is also one of the poorest regions in the entire country. Louisiana and Mississippi have the number 1 and number 2 poverty rates. They have some of the lowest incomes in the entire country. New Orleans has lost hundreds of thousands in population over the years. And Louisiana has almost the same population that it did in the mid-1980s. So there's really not much growth at all. Considering all these factors, this region and city are very fortunate to continue to have an NFL franchise. And next we have at number 3 the LA Chargers. This one really shouldn't be much of a surprise. It is well known that this team struggles in attendance and fan support, but the league made a big mistake having 2 teams move to LA 1 year apart, especially one having no history really in LA. The Chargers did play there, but only for 2 years, while the Rams and Raiders played there much longer. And based on the attendance at their games, I don't think too many fans from San Diego are making the drive there. LA really is just a weak market for 2 teams. The NFL is on a much more level playing field, competing with Major League Baseball and NBA than it is in other cities there. And if you just don't have that strong homegrown fan base, it's very hard to generate revenue unless it's from opposing fans, which many visit at Chargers games. In addition, they're only a tenant at the stadium they play in, since it is owned by the Rams owner, putting them at a massive disadvantage in terms of stadium revenue. For number 2, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at $64 million. This one probably is very much related to the fact that Florida is a state of many transplants, people from other places throughout the US, and many retirees. So there really isn't this long-time generational tradition of going to games, except when the team's pretty good. They have generally poor attendance. They struggled mightily with blackouts in the early 2010s. And the stadium is kind of disconnected from its downtown. And there really isn't any kind of associated development around the stadium that can generate revenue like the Patriots have in Foxborough. So with all factors considered, it's not a major surprise that this one is lower on the list. And lastly, we have the Detroit Lions at just $51 million. Now this one is a bit of a surprise. Even though Detroit has lost a lot of people over the decades, it is still one of the largest metros in the country at 14, and it is also the 14th largest television market. However, it can't be understated how vastly This city has changed over the years and declined over the years. Is it a little better? Yes. However, most of the wealth in this city is fairly distanced from where the Lions play downtown. There's a reason that the Silverdome and the Palace of Auburn Hills were both in very distant suburbs of Detroit, and it was primarily due to the vast amount of suburbanization going on in Metro Detroit. Detroit's metro population, while large, is very spread out, meaning much of the population with the disposable income to go to sporting events is quite distanced from the stadium in Ford Field downtown. Also, since moving to Ford Field in 2002, the team has generally been very bad, which is obviously going to affect people's willingness to go travel downtown for games and willingness to spend money on the team. In fact, in 2022, revenue from ticket sales, according to Forbes, was roughly only a third compared to that of Cleveland and Pittsburgh, both of which are economically similar metros. They're both significantly smaller in terms of population than Detroit's metro. So it does kind of show you how fan support can factor into this. Frankly, in just my opinion, Detroit is more of a middle tier fan base, and I think just having such a spread out population just hurts the team. So those are the 5. Let me know what you think, and thank you for watching.